Team Fred.
Episode 9? Is it?
Somebody's chipper.
Well, he's saying he's excited to get their attention.
He's excited to be back.
Captivate that fucking audience.
Yo, we're back.
Captivate that audience.
They are captivated. Consider them captivated.
Looking at the line notes, my name is Joey Parisi. Should we go around the room?
My name is Greg Knight.
I'm Bruce Charles Robinson.
And we are
The Great Beyond Podcast.
The Great Beyond.
We got some feedback that we should say our names.
We're listening.
We are who we are.
We respond to
See
our
if
listeners.
You can find me on the lot.
Catch me on a lie. How about that?
So, if you haven't noticed, we haven't been recording an episode for about 2 months now.
We know you all have noticed.
We know
Our
you
avid
noticed.
listeners.
Yeah, right? And live music is back. We have to go to all these shows, and there's just so little time to record. So we finally reserved some time. We're back. And since we last recorded, there's been a million things that have happened. Let me pull up my sheet of paper here.
Good thing we
Going
had
analog, baby.
real paper.
I don't have a laptop with me. We had a West Coast tour announcement. Fred Fest happened.
It did.
A Goosemas announcement. Surprise, surprise.
That's a thing.
Greg's wedding happened. He got married to our manager. Love story for the ages.
Keep it in the fan, baby.
4848. See Here Now happened, and end of the summer on that. Sweetwater 420 announced, which seems like a godsend of a lineup.
It's going to be a crazy festival next year.
Amazing. Terminal 5, which was one of the best shows I've ever seen. We'll talk about that a little later. A Ray Below tour announcement over the winter. And Goose was on Thursday Night Football.
All 15 seconds of Madhavan.
Oh, yeah. To be honest, that 15 seconds is a longer break than most music clips get.
That's very true.
So there we go. It
very
was
true.
because there was a Seahawk, I found out,
Yes.
I'm not in the Audubon Society, so I don't know these things. But yeah.
Shout out to our guest, Dave DiCianni.
Yeah, right?
Our resident bird expert.
Yeah, right. And I completely forgot in the list, also a New Year's show. Guys, has a Goose New Year's show?
It has.
There's been one.
Yeah.
There was one.
Tell me about it.
Stuff. Nobody went because we all went to fish.
I was at
I don't even know if the whole band was there. But I think it was New Year's 2017. 2017 at the Acoustic, yeah, in Bridgeport. So that's pretty dope. I hear Chicago is absolutely beautiful in December, so I can't wait to get out there.
Oh, it's gonna be. Yeah, nice.
But I don't know. Where do you want to start? Let's talk Goosemas.
Let's talk Goosemas.
Let's talk
I'm
Goosemas.
excited.
Same.
3 sets from the guys. Mohegan Sun. Plenty of surprises in store, allegedly. I was able to talk to Getty and saw his plans for the stage. Gonna be sick. And I don't know, I guess I'll just give you an interesting little vignette about my experiences with Mohegan Sun.
Please do.
Used to sneak in there when I was under 18, try to gamble. Didn't really ever work. But I did see some amazing shows there. In no particular order. Fish in 2019, Prince in 2013. Bruce was there as well.
One of my biggest regrets was missing
Bruce
that.
was not there as well?
No, I wasn't. I was like, Fish is expensive enough. And I would have sat in the nosebleeds for Prince for like $250, but I did not realize he was going to pass away like the next year. But that was a big regret.
Great night, though. I went with my parents. My dad and I had to drag my mom out of there at Prince's 6th encore. And then probably top show ever at Mohegan Arena was Maroon 5 on New Year's Eve 2004. Songs About Jane, baby. Great album.
Was Adam shirtless, though?
Adam was not shirtless, unfortunately. But what did happen was they played till 10 p.m. Took like a helicopter to MTV, and the only reason I found out was because I drove back to my parents' house, turned on MTV, and they were performing for the ball drop. So That was pretty cool.
But shirted.
Yeah.
So dumb. What a waste.
So it's not Maroon 5 this week.
Yeah, it's basically
It's not, yeah,
it's
exactly.
a different band altogether.
Yes, I believe, what were they called before? Kara's Flowers. For the music fans out there.
Oh, that's the most emo name I've ever heard in my life. It's like Adam Levine came out of the womb with extremely tight black jeans on.
I have very limited knowledge that I keep that I hope will win me Jeopardy one day.
It won't. It won't.
Well, anyway, moving on. Orebelo tour happening December, January.
Do that one more time.
Orebelo tour.
Oof. Did he turn the AC off in here, or is it just me? Yeah.
Kathleen, look out.
Wow.
Shout out to our manager. Loves acoustic tunes, which is what I'm sure you're referencing, Joey. We've got Tarrytown Music Hall in Tarrytown, New York. Not too far from New York City.
No, 45-minute train ride. I'm going.
Me too.
I'll be there.
I might go.
Bruce, we'll see you there. Homer Center for the Performing Arts in Homer, New York, kind of near Syracuse. That's a hike, but no, there's a Goose stronghold up there, so I'm sure that'll pack out.
Yeah.
Spruce Peak Performing Arts, which is in Stowe, Vermont, for all you skiers out there.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good little side activity.
Yeah.
Head up north, see a Goose show.
It just seems like this is ski tour for Peter and Rick and Jeff.
It definitely does. Yeah,
So,
for sure.
I mean, I'm not saying anything, but it just seems that way.
Who knows? Maybe Peter will get caught in a ditch and have to play Michelle Branch. 121, we've got Ogden Theater supporting the Kitchen Dwellers. Big shout out to the Dwellers as an artist who's supported them before. I love those guys.
Those guys were ripped too.
Wait, when was that?
That was at Cervantes after
After the Denver shows.
the Denver shows.
Still don't remember that.
Yeah.
I
I mean, I know that I remember Kitchen Dwellers really crushing. I don't know if anything else happened those nights, but yeah.
doesn't matter.
Anyway.
122-23 Old Town Pub.
Oof. I love Old Town Pub. If anybody can make it out for these Orebelo shows, you absolutely should. Great place to support. I just love it. I wish I could make it out for those.
Maybe we could get a reprise on the Goose Boat stickers.
Oh, baby. Yeah,
nice.
the classics. Yeah, we'll see.
Or Orebotlo.
Ooh.
That one's free, baby.
That's a free one. To make that sticker money.
And then, after that, 3 days later,
West Coast tour.
They're sticking out there.
I'm going
Back.
Wow.
to Cali. All right,
Bruce,
whatever.
you were
We're not
supposed to
covering
finish that.
I can't. That was just so offbeat.
When the endo hits your lyrics, whatever. All right, so 126 Tempe, Arizona at the Marquee, where they kicked off their West Coast run with Pigeons Playing Ping Pong
Yeah.
in 2020.
That Mustang Sally they referenced in Fred the Film that
that
apparently was a joke that nobody got except the bands. I love Mustang Sally. I have no problem with it, with how they play it. They could play it every night. I really don't care.
I mean, it's an old cover that they play that they just absolutely crush. All of us have always loved it, growing up locally, and you don't get to hear it that often. The one at Westville was massive.
Yeah, that was fire.
And it was also cool because Peter definitely outplayed Rick, and then I told him that after the show, and that was fun. But anyway.
Which is why he hasn't talked to you since. 127, the Observatory in San Diego, home of Ron Burgundy. And that's going to be great. Also, San Diego. Fun fact, that's where Coach had his bachelor party.
Oh, that was a lot of fun.
Still tired. Still tired. 128, the Fonda in LA. Cool. Los Angeles. Yeah, cool.
City of Angels.
Under the bridge. 129.30 Regency Ballroom in San Fran. We'll be out there.
I definitely expect to be out here for those Southern California shows.
They put a little slabberoo in San Fran before at Great American Music Hall. What were the highlights there?
Oh, that's Humble.
Tumble.
February 15th, 2020.
Or Tumble. That's
Crazy.
what it was.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Midtown Ballroom, February 2nd in Bend, Oregon.
Yeah, it's tough. When they made this announcement, was like, how can I manage to hit those Southern California shows and get up north to hit these Northwest shows? But it's a tough track. It's going to be hard to drive, and then it's also a lot of fun. But it's almost like you have to choose one or another. If you don't have to, definitely hit them up. I'd love to get out there to see them in the Northwest tour.
Yeah, it seems like that bend into the next shows, the Portland shows, that's like going to feel like one big run, I think. 3 days in a row in Oregon. I feel like it's going to be a lot of the same crowd.
And it's just cool that now they can hit up these venues that they played those opening sets for and really, like, you know, give them the full experience, the full show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may have to avoid Portland, though, because 90% of my vices are legal there, so. Yeah, maybe we'll just fast forward to the Neptune Theater in Seattle.
Yeah.
This venue does seem pretty similar to that February run. What's going on over there at 11/11?
Yeah, right.
Got a little playbook here.
That Neptune Theater show from that last run was also a very good opening set.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was like 222 or something like that, but it was a really good set.
It's almost as if we had it in the notes. And then back to
we
Bozeman.
did? Oh, I don't look at the notes. I mean, that's just Bruce's intellect coming through, everybody.
Back to Bozeman, February 7th. Brand new venue.
Yeah. Similar to a lot of the fall tour, which is just these new venues that popped up during COVID.
That's cool. And you wouldn't, you know, when I think of Montana, I think of not a lot of police and I think of methamphetamine. But I think like people in Bozeman's supposed to be a really cool town. And I heard a lot of good stuff about it after the Montana shows that they played this summer. So that would be a really fun place to hit if you guys can do it. It sounds like there's cool crowds out there too. So.
I'm gonna spend so much money. Jesus Christ.
Where does it come? This stuff doesn't grow on trees, man.
I don't know. I just funnel it directly from my company to Goose.
Yeah.
Just go on.
They might as well pay their salary.
Literally pay them back.
Seriously, just direct deposit. Just direct deposit Rick, please.
That and Delta Airlines.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I know. So, as all of the intrusive people in El Goose may know, my wedding went semi-viral. I did get married to our manager, Kathleen. It was fantastic. We had some special guests play some tunes, and we're going to talk to the one, the only, Robbie Chemical.
Another very special guest.
Very special guest. He is our studio engineer.
Table 12, baby.
He was at Table 12. Joey Parisi deals with us when we record the podcast. So we're going to do 5 minutes with Rob and talk about the wedding. Rob, initial impressions.
So first of all, that was the first of 3 weddings that I went to, like, over the course of, like, 2 weeks. Your wedding was fucking amazing, man. You nailed the whole... everything about it was great. Your wedding had the best, like, testimonials at the altar. Like, all the people that spoke for you guys... were
it was really nice.
Yeah, it was very compelling. So
Sierra, who did the officiating, was absolutely stellar. Coming from an efficient, obviously, who's extremely good at doing that.
An efficient.
There you go.
So we got married at the Bronx Zoo, which was super dope. Had a little bit of Goose at the zoo. Check out the photos. Big shout out to M. Wallace for taking some photos.
Oh, who absolutely happens to be here with us today.
M. Wallace is in the studio today. Thank you, M.
A lot of good photos of peacocks and gorillas.
A lot of good photos. Gorillas getting down.
The gorillas were really getting into the whole love vibe.
Yeah, you guys had that like perfectly like choreographed peacock situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that was like really, really cool.
I ended up taking that peacock. Anyway.
Stowing it away with your great blue t-shirts in your trunk.
My apartment is big enough for me and an animal.
Just almost big enough. And we got a set from Goose.
The Goose set was sick too.
At the zoo. So big shout out to the homie Ian Biggs and the Ruckus, the primary
Ian killed
wedding
it.
band.
Yep.
Yeah, they were actually great.
But I do feel like it's got to be tough to be another band when Goose is playing, a short set at a wedding.
It's
Joey,
tough for me. It's just a lay person. I'm doing nothing. I'm just trying to drink,
Yeah, besides being the best man.
Oh, that's right.
Joey, want to run us through the Goose set?
Yeah. Hold on, let me pull up my notes.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It was 3 songs and I don't remember.
Joey on paper, everybody.
That's Table 12's fault. Started off with So Ready, because of course we're so ready for this Goose set
It's
of
my
the wedding in the
mom's
Bronx.
favorite song. My mom's
That
favorite.
is
It was
true.
dedicated to Greg's mom.
That is true. And then I Wish by Stevie Wonder, holy shit, dude.
Yes.
That was maybe the greatest Goose performance I've seen, because they had Tweaks 2 sit in on sax.
That's
Tweaks
right.
too.
Yeah.
Tommy Weeks of the Funky Dogs Brass Band.
Yeah, he seamlessly fit in there.
He really did. I was on the side, kind of dancing, grooving to I Wish, and then all of a sudden I'm like, is there a fucking sax? And there was, and it was nice.
Yeah,
I was
him and-
really happy about that.
Him and Rick had this crazy back and forth
Oh,
during
yeah,
the
that's
solo.
right, yeah.
Unbelievable. Check out the videos up in El Goose. That is apparently intrusive.
No,
great.
it's not intrusive.
No, it's
Not intrusive.
It was
No, not at all.
very
No,
intrusive.
no.
And
Yeah.
then Arcadia to close it out with a guest sit-in who I don't really remember. I mean, the sax was so good, I can't remember who sat
I
in.
forget how the guests sometimes when one of them really takes over.
Yeah.
Some guy freestyled at the wedding. Whatever. Just want to highlight the best men's speeches. So big happy birthday shout out to Matt Kalinsky, Goose's man.
Blimpy man.
Blimpy man.
Happy birthday.
Respect.
He let it rip, and also Bruce Robinson.
Oh yeah.
Bruce Robinson ripped an absolute Type 2 speech.
Yeah, that was definitely the most legendary part of the wedding.
14 minutes.
Yeah, Greg's
of,
aunts were just like,
yeah. Yep.
they were giving him the cane on the neck. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, the good thing about that was I didn't see that, and so I just kept going. One thing I will tell everybody: if you have to do a speech in a wedding and you have it on your phone because you want to make a joke about the phone, don't turn on auto rotate, because it really makes it hard to read the speech and follow along with where you're at. Just a heads up.
So we'll blame it on auto rotate, whatever. Bruce went Type 2. It was awesome.
It was also Greg's dad's fault because he basically stole your speech. Was that right? Or was that just
Yeah, actually, now that I remember, Herb took every good line I had.
Yeah, Herb had a good speech too.
Made
Yeah.
it better and did it before me, and then I had to go up and just falter as usual. So
Interestingly enough, my dad did use a bird metaphor for the whole thing and then forgot to mention Goose, which was good because the two best men just did testimonials to the band.
Yeah, right.
Anyway,
Matt brought
let's
it up.
fast forward
yeah, I blame Kalinsky.
or move backwards. Fred Festival happened,
Oh yeah,
and Brian Murphy ripped a film.
Yeah, he did.
Fred
So-
the film.
Yeah, check that out. I mean, if you haven't watched it yet, it's really a lot of fun. And I honestly, the backstage experience is, really cool to see, and the way he captured it. Just the conversations that happen between the band and their guests, and, the planning that goes into it. It's really cool how, improvised the entire weekend kind of was in a way.
and because it's just a lot with COVID regulations and with lock and whipping together these 3 separate festivals with some issues with weather at the festivals and things of that nature. There was just a lot up in the air and a lot of play, and luckily the weather held out for Fred for us. It was beautiful the whole weekend. It was really a great time, and I'm really glad that it actually went smoothly for the guys, as smoothly as it could, because it really you could feel that from the fans, and everybody that was there had a great time. Super nice, chill vibe. Security was super chill.
Yeah.
No lines. It was really spectacular for that first fest.
Yeah, and the VIP section was really cool too, because all the artists were just out hanging out. You could say hi to them, give their props. I remember during Corey Wong, Sammy Ray and the Friends, their whole band had just finished, so they were hanging out in the VIP section, and there was this quiet point during Corey Wong where the backup vocalist did this cool little improv harmony, and pretty much everyone in the first 5 rows or so heard it, and everyone just turned their heads what was that beautiful noise that just came out.
And it was me. Oh, it was them. It was the other. Okay.
And so speaking of Fred, our resident person who does all the work on the podcast, Joey Parisi, was able to go down the pathway with this episode's guest, Mr. Dave DiCianni, Goose manager, Pigeons manager, partner at 1111 Group.
And Dreamweaver.
Yeah,
as you'll hear at the end of the interview.
He's also a bird expert.
He's a bird expert too, which is why he has Goose and Pigeons. And Joey, I guess why don't you intro the interview, because I wasn't at the festival
and I haven't listened.
I honestly haven't listened to it in so long, so I'm going to be a little surprised by it as well. So why don't we just listen to it?
Here's a surprise for all of you.
Yeah. All right, test. I think we're good. All right, Great Beyond Podcast here with the man who probably deserves the most credit on Goose's team, but doesn't get it enough, in my opinion. Dave DiCianni, how you doing, brother?
Good, man. Good. It's good to be here at Fred this weekend. Enjoying it out here.
Yeah, right, man. So can you give me a little background as to how it got started, how this came to be?
It had a lot to do with Pete Shapiro and our relationship with him. He's become a big advocate for the band over the past, several years, but especially through COVID. And he really wanted to make this happen, and he wouldn't let us say no, pretty much, is kind of how it all came together.
Yeah, cool.
So, yeah, it was... There's actually an article in Polestar that just came out on Friday about the festival, and Rick was talking about the band was supposed to be off this month. And then Pete just came in and wouldn't let him say no. So here we are.
Well, that's really cool, man. So this isn't the first time you guys hooked up with Pete Shapiro, right? So Goosemas was that the first collaborative project between Goose and Shapiro?
Yes. And, myself and Ben and our booking agents, we work with Pete and his team quite a bit with other acts.
Okay.
So, they're good friends and partners. And in terms of Goose, Pete was at the Williamsburg Music Hall show just prior to at the top of 2020.
January 25th.
Yep. And that was his first time seeing the band. Kirk Peterson, who works with Pete and is involved at Lock-In here. I don't know when he first saw the band. A lot of people never got to see the band because it all kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
But so that just prior to COVID. Pete was introduced, saw them live for the first time, and we were supposed to come play here summer of 2020.
The Phil 80th birthday celebration. I was looking forward to that lock-in.
Yeah, that was a good lineup, and we were excited to have Goose, make it down here. But this is pretty cool to be back at this property, kind of doing our own thing.
Dude, it's really cool, and there's definitely enough space because it's obviously a huge farm. So you're still running into people that, a couple times you meet somebody, you're gonna see them again. So it's not like a massive huge crowd of people festival. It's this family feeling of a bunch of Goose fans and honestly a bunch of people who haven't seen Goose, haven't heard of Goose. I met some kids who were just here to see Dawes. So
that's wild.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that there's people here for Dawes. That's great.
Did that Black Sabbath set last night?
So great.
They were so true to the album. It was really nice.
It's awesome. But it's definitely a family vibe. It's kind of exactly what we wanted it to be.
Cool, man. So can you talk a little bit about the lineup and how that was set up? Was that band influence? Was that through management who we have connections with, anything like that?
I think it sort of was. And out of the gate, I think we were maybe considering it just being a Goose show, and then we tossed some ideas around just collectively with between us, management, the band, and Kirk and Pete from the Lock-In side, and sort of had a pretty clear direction that we wanted to go and kind of get outside of the box that get outside of the typical jam band lineup that you would see. And I think, Kirk and Pete did a great job of sort of curating that, bringing that in. But at the end, I mean, it was influenced, a conversation with all of us, and then Kirk and Pete went out and got, the lineup book.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, because it definitely fits the Goose sound of, like, having this indie vibe, and then also acts like someone who's setting up right now, Corey Wong, to have that, like, jazz side and more in the jam band scene, so.
Yeah, for sure. And Corey is one he's on 1111's roster, but yeah, it was all, it's great to have him here. It's a great lineup. I mean, the music yesterday was great. Sammy Ray just played. She was amazing.
That was incredible.
I've been wanting to see her. I discovered her just at the start of COVID.
Oh, yeah?
Her for the first time, so.
Yeah, I hadn't heard her before this lineup was announced, and I got into it, and obviously, like, the latest album was incredible. That Everybody Wants to Rule the World cover is incredible.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. So I guess, can you talk a little bit about curating a festival for a specific band? Because I guess Dome Fest, obviously that's been a big project with Pigeons that you work with. So like, what's the process of going with the band saying, what do you want to see this year? Going to Goose for this and be like, all right, what activities, what kind of setup do you want? And like trying to make that vision become a reality. I guess what's the process through the whole thing?
I mean, the Dome Fest is a bit of a different thing because it sort of grew into what it became, and the band very much created it from early on, and it was very grassroots, and this we're coming into like infrastructure and a whole team and things like that, so the focus was like the activities and different things like that was a big part that the band got to focus on. So it's curating a band-specific festival. It just depends on the scenario, and this is a unique, Dome Fest and this are completely unique scenarios.
Then I guess Dome Fest is pretty independent, where this teaming up with Lock and Farm, that's got to be.
Yeah, we're coming into everything. There's so much focus on Dome Fest and like everything all the infrastructure that's here that Goose didn't have to. We didn't have to go through that. So there could. And I mean, Pigeons do a great job putting their own creative touches onto their event.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was almost entirely the focus for Goose was how to do this game kind of thing and make sure people had activities. There's, a good amount of free time built into the schedule for people to also like enjoy the community side of the whole thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, before it started, we went out to Willie's Joint, hung out there a little bit.
Is that where you could like go smoke weed?
Yeah. They got a little place in the back that's just like a bunch of tables. There's a couple bongs out there that like I wouldn't share with the rest of this crowd, but hey, they're there if you need it.
I hope they're cleaning them.
Yeah, hopefully. They looked very clean, so okay, cool. I think they're doing their good job. So I guess one last question for you, other than the Goose, or actually, let's talk about the Pseudo and Alpha Proof. Were those projects you wanted to bring, or the band wanted to bring before this was starting?
Yeah, I mean, that was, honestly, so much has happened so quickly, particularly with this festival. It was like a 2-week thing where it's like, okay, we're going to do this, like, here we go. Yeah, it was definitely very early in the conversation. Like, let's not only have Goose, but sort of other, members doing their own different projects. The acoustic Goose, trio set that we're going to do tomorrow.
Which is the first way I ever saw Goose, was that interview with Tom Marshall and RJ.
Right
that was
on,
like the first Goose show, quote unquote. Yeah.
That was right before the Williamsburg thing.
Yeah,
right?
so then I went to the Bowery the next night.
Yeah, right.
And then I couldn't go to Williamsburg. I was working that night.
But yeah, it's that definitely having those guys a part of it, especially they've both put out, we're planning on putting out music and did put out music, this summer. So it made a lot of sense.
All right, very nice, man. Well, I want to leave the listeners with one thing, is that I'm quitting my job and starting a new job because of the man right here, Dave DiCianni. Before COVID, I asked desperately to work for the band. I mentioned I was a CPA, and he called me, gave me some great career advice, hooked me up with a place that I'm starting with after Labor Day. So this guy literally changed my life. He means so much to me. I love him so much. And
I appreciate that, man. I'm glad it all worked out for you.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And Corey Wong is looks like the pieces are getting together, so we could head back down. I'm gonna bridge face, man. Thanks so much for doing this.
Yep.
Appreciate it so much, man.
That's a U-phone problem.
Now we don't have it.
We ready? Are we on? We're rolling?
Rolling, yeah.
We're rolling.
All right, we're rolling.
Top and the city's low.
Good thing everybody turned their
on the
iPhones
radio.
off.
All right. So this weekend, what happened?
Oh,
That's how we're gonna start the segment.
yeah. I mean, somebody didn't write an intro in the notes, Joey. I don't want to
so
name names, but like,
sorry.
anyway, I guess Bruce has to do this. So,
Yeah. Take it.
Brace yourselves.
let's introduce Terminal 5. In case you
Type 2
haven't,
intro.
in case you haven't
We got
heard,
14 minutes.
start the clock now.
Don't put your phone on rotate.
I'm turning the Android back on. It wasn't the feedback problem. So anyway, Terminal 5 happened this weekend. So Goose played 2 shows at probably one of the most hated venues in New York, Terminal 5. But
You can hate me now, but I won't stop now.
and the rap references continue. So we, they took lemons, I guess this is the saying, and made lemonade. And that little club really was popping this weekend.
Popping with the hard G.
Well, yeah, I'm 36. I can't leave apostrophes at the end of words these days.
You're right. When you're right, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way it is. So the Friday show, they actually started off with a bang, opened up with So Ready, just like they did at Greg's wedding. Man, this band is predictable. But that So Ready was scorching. And right off the bat, night one, when these guys had 5 sets this weekend, they just kicked it up a notch right away and kept the energy going the whole weekend.
It was insane how many people knew the words.
Right?
Oh, I continue to be blown away by the people knowing the words to these songs.
And
now.
I don't think the soundboards really captured it. Like, Hot Tea, the entire building was singing along every single word.
It was wild.
Such a cool feeling.
It was wild. I mean, that's why, like, to reference a much older show now at this point, but the Denver show when they played Empress, I just I'll always remember that. Just Getty just shined those white lights on the crowd, man, and everybody's hands went up and everybody was singing along. I'm like, how do these 5,000 people know this song?
Yeah.
It's just amazing. So, yeah, and you got a good view of that at Terminal 5. It's
Absolutely.
Even though it's a sea of people and there are a lot of tough sightlines at that venue, it makes for a lot of cool visuals, though. It's really cool for the lights that it's like an almost square rectangular room. It was a club, which is part of the reason why there's some problems with having, 3,000 plus people in that place packed in there. There's not a lot of access ways and things like that, but man, you can really light it up and you can really get a cool vibe going in that room, and they did that whole weekend.
And talking about that feeling of like indoor Goose being back, like I totally forgot how good that is.
So sweet, dude.
Unbelievable.
Smaller indoor spots, man, it's just the coolest thing.
If you haven't bought your tickets to fall tour, winter, go see Goose indoors because it is so worth it.
I mean, this isn't even a Goose podcast, and listen to us.
No,
It's insane.
I forgot I didn't like
to
this
dig
band.
into the jams, only band that comes to New York and plays a song about Cleveland. Look how Cleveland was fire, though. That
it was
ripped, absolutely ripped. I mean, Handini had his whole setup there, so you could just dig in on that clav.
Yeah.
Jams went super deep. Speaking of a sea of people, floating atop that sea was the debut of Old Man's Boat.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it is, but these guys really like water themes.
Great reference.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I like that. But and again, I mean, like, So Ready kicked it up a notch right away, and Peter was on fire on the keys, man, and really sounded. And not only his keys playing, but his singing sounded really, really good this weekend. Like, these guys just kind of keep having these little periods off and then leveling up. One of them levels up in certain ways, the whole band levels up in certain ways, and you could really hear it right off the bat night one at T5, and then we got in the second set 2021 sandwiched the set, dude, which nobody thought they would play.
It's about time.
Yeah,
I don't have to go to New Year's now. I'm thrilled. I mean, I'm gonna go, but
I'm thrilled when I also don't have to go to shows that I'm addicted to and just continue to go to for no reason. But then and then finally that Flow Down Encore. So we've had a flopener. There was some talk about a flowcore?
A flancore.
Flancore.
And then there was
I
a
think wins it out.
flancore.
Flancanor.
I don't understand the flancore because it was like supposed to be pronounced like flan, and then they wrote it like I'm like you could just use the O.
Flancore.
However, it's hot.
You
It's
could do
what we're
the
calling
O, the fashion.
The fashion.
Flancore.
Except it's not French, it's Norwegian, so it's like flancore. That didn't sound right.
Let's move on to night 2. Oh man, Peter again. The vocals on point. Life on the Shelf, new track.
And that was really where I noticed it, because that's a higher register, that track, and he really sounded smooth, and held the note levels really well, and just I was like floored by how much better.
Sound like a music teacher.
Joke inception.
But that's definitely one of those songs that I could see them like building on, jamming it out, discovering new places to go with it. Like that's all of Peter's songs have these like this incredible ability for them to take to new places, which is what I love about them.
Definitely.
Peter's songs are a little bit, even when he's trying to, even when it's a deeper or more serious subject, like Life on the Shelf, he just has a light air about the songs, and it's a really cool juxtaposition of the way Rick writes, and it just gives you this wide variety of things that these guys can play that still all sound like Goose, which is important. It's important for them to separate themselves in that sort of way, to find some uniqueness and some variety in a genre that a lot of people like to hear the same things, over and over. So, but I wanted to specify that So Ready kicked off night 1 was fire. Tumble on night 2 to start the night, to start a 3-set night. That Tumble opener was one of the best openers I've ever heard at a show. I mean, it's one of the better tumbles I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And it just rips the entire, it's 20 minutes as an opener. And I was like, shit, this is just the first song, first set.
It's one of those songs where you're like, holy shit, that was only one song
Crazy.
That they played. It feels like an entire concert. Like, I'm good.
Into Bobbed On, too, which then, Rick was shredding during that tumble. And then Bobbed On just opens up that space for like that cool classic rock, expected solo at the end that just wails, and it's just the feeling behind that is just sick. That song is, I love that song.
I actually really like that Bob Don doesn't go super deep, but it's just like 7 minutes of rock.
Exactly,
It's a straight rock song.
Which is a perfect, like, you need that placement in there to then go into some other songs, Life on the Shelf. And then I want to highlight that White Lights into Jive 1 transition. It was like the entire time, like, what is this?
Smooth.
What is this? Like, what are they about to play? It sounds so familiar. And then all of a sudden, just do. And then everyone around me is like, holy shit, it's Jive 1.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they go into it. And I mean, Jively is my favorite song. And I hadn't gotten it to that point since Suwannee. So I've been craving a Jively.
Lee is sick.
That Lee was a little mini Rippington. It was like 14 minutes.
Rippy Hamilton.
Yeah, Rippy Hamilton. Set 2, though, we got that new It Burns Within. A lot of buzz about that. Super tight.
I mean, I feel like, so with the different formats for It Burns Within, I have just not, I like that song no matter how they play it. It's just a really great song. It's fun song to sing along to. Got a lot of feeling in it. Good energy behind the song. It's crazy that song has only been played one other time as
Goose, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or two other times.
Goose was one.
So last Halloween,
the
6th, the show before the 7th, before the makeup shows.
Yep.
That was the first time they had played it since 2014, since the very first Goosemas.
Yep.
Yeah.
So many bust outs in that show. That's
crazy.
a great show.
Yeah, crazy.
And then we got the Oh My Dragonfly debut.
Oh my God. Oh my Dragonfly surprise. So that was sick. I actually didn't know which tape song it was.
Idea,
Talking to my friend Eric, we thought it was Forest or something, but I don't know. All
Camino 2.
All these nature names and shit.
Guys,
Let's go.
Until it hit Dragonfly 2, I didn't realize it was Dragonfly. but
I didn't even know there was a second one.
Yeah, part 1 and part 2. Oh my god,
no idea.
This is why this is not a Goose podcast.
Yeah, not even close.
I barely know the band.
And then after Dragonfly, Peter
is doing. Yeah.
Well, the Peter Pole.
The Peter Pole. Peter did his Peter Pole. Of course, at that point, when you're going into 3 sets, everyone just says it's their first show. But the rumors were true. They announced they were going to be doing a 3rd set. A lot of missed trains, a lot of cars left in parking lots overnight.
Absolutely.
Allegedly, Bruce leaked.
So first of all, the rumors were true. The rumors that I did not spread. Okay, you know, God forbid Bruce knows something, you know, and then everybody has to get all huffy and puff their chest out and be like, "What, Bruce? This?"
Well, I will say all the bartenders were saying they're playing until 1.
Code check. Everybody knew.
Somebody better watch AG.
And then
That's all I'm
Keep your
saying.
eyes on AEG.
Yeah.
No, but people knew. I mean, and 3rd set, whatever. Surprise or not, you gotta love a 3rd set. Get the funk out of my face. First one since Halloween, Mercury Lounge?
Bingo Tour,
Bingo Tour.
I think. Check me on that.
because
No, yeah.
they played it. Oh yeah, that's right. Bingo Tour was after that.
And I think Pumped Up Kicks was
Pumped
Thornville.
Up Kicks hasn't been played in a while.
Thornville 2020.
And
Whoa,
like,
okay.
so that was part of some of the stuff too with this 3rd night was that each set was, I mean, you could have these 3 sets and you're going to have some drop off points or some lulls, and they did not.
No.
Every set was well constructed. The energy was good throughout each set. I mean, they played like cover Rock the Casbah at the end of the first set.
Yeah, how did we not talk about
And
that?
that was fire, and you know it's Jeff sounds great
Gong
as well
gang, baby,
back there.
gong gang.
Gong gang for life.
I
Gong
do
gang.
want to note I had my Gong Gang jersey on, and you know,
Congratulations.
a bunch of
Joey.
people were like, "Oh, like how'd you know?" You know, Jeff. I was like, "Yeah, we're boys."
Did you know I was a VIP at Fred? So anyway,
I actually wasn't a VIP. you know.
Oh, subtle.
I had to
not
spend
bragging.
night 1 on the 3rd floor on Peter's side, not seeing the band at all. But it was a dance party up there.
Well, if you watch the Fred film, everyone's a VIP. Madhavan, Love Light, Madhavan.
Oh, well,
Rager.
what about
Absolute.
Acquainted with the Night, dog?
Oh my God, Bobby Frost.
Yeah, right.
I didn't know it was happening at first, you know? I'm like just hearing these weird sounds, and it happens to be Trevor reading a poem.
Yeah.
And that's what I think the 3rd set was really one for the fans. Like
Sure.
a lot of those, like "Get the Funk Out of My Face," Pumped Up Kicks, Trevor reads poetry. It was a lot of me turning to my friends going, "All right, here's what's happening.
This is what's going on.
Here's why it's like a freak out moment for me."
But again, to go back to the point about keeping that a good pace and constructing each set well, that Pumped Up Kicks was perfectly placed after that Creatures, and it rocked too. And that Terminal 5, like everybody knowing the words, everybody dancing along, like Terminal 5 was bumping.
It was
Pumped Up.
wild.
It was like almost every single person
was
there was
absolutely
like,
wild.
"Fuck yeah, I want to hear this," you know.
Yeah. It was like they were fostering the people towards joy.
And I do want to note in that Madhavan, Love Light Madhavan, I forget exactly where, but there was this cool back and forth between Rick and Peter where they were like doing the exact same lines going back and forth.
Yeah, it
and
was
then
really
Rick
cool.
did this like secret agent man tease, and Peter was right there to match him with it. And like I love
Really,
that song.
and it was funny because Rick did the Secret Agent Man tease, and then Peter picked up the response in such a way that it sounded like they were just flowing right into Secret Agent Man. It,
Yeah.
like, was the normal intro practically at that point. But I was screaming at them to play it, but you know the audio in Terminal 5 they couldn't hear me. So you know.
And that's Terminal 5's fault, frankly.
It is Terminal 5's fault and the band's fault. And with Love Light too, you know, it's kind of subtle, but I want everyone to know that Rick did say "suck it, Russo" before they played that.
Absolutely.
I didn't hear that until today when I was listening to it.
I love the band trolling Russo.
Love it. I love it. I love. We need more of that.
Yeah, it's great.
And then the show closed out with Hot Tea Prize, which I love. A reprise of Hot Tea.
Yeah.
I think we need a new name for it, just because the kind of pimple popping keyboard warriors on certain websites might want to Say It Sounds Like a Different Band's
I
reprise.
just call him Fish Fan. Oh yeah, but anyway, sorry.
It's all right.
We can edit
no
that.
names, no names, no
Yeah.
names. But we need a new name, even if it's just T2. I don't know.
And I mean the whole time too.
Tea time.
I think the entire set, I was like telling people, like interrupting their show, obviously, because I love chomping, and I was like, they haven't finished Hot Tea yet, and people are like, I don't care.
I don't know.
Dude, you did tell me that twice.
You told Greg twice, for example, and then when they played it, I pretty much told everybody again. So I was like, remember when I was telling you they were going to finish it? Anyway, so
Yeah, we didn't talk about that Hot Tea, and a big thing among I feel like newer fans in El Goose is what is the best Hot Tea. That's the song they go to of what is the best version of the song. And to this point, I think I've been saying Charleston.
that Charleston tea was what I was going to say.
But this, I don't know, man. Maybe it was just the energy in the room. Like the recording, you might not get that.
I don't know. I listened last night. It does sound great. The problem is with these two shows is that there are literally countless songs that they actually crushed, you know? That So Ready to Open was great. There's a number of good cuts from night one. The Echo was really great. And then on night
Rosewood.
That Rosewood was great. And then the Tumble on night 3 that we were talking about, that White Lights was great. That Lee was awesome. We got a Wisteria for the first time in a while.
Oh my
they
God!
finally put away
the
Wisteria.
Yeah, you're right. I was definitely floating on a Marshmallow Sea at the
which
time.
is cool because they were playing a lot. Now they're like tucking it away a little bit, so it was great to hear. I mean, they just had so many. Again, 5 sets and 2 encores, and they really just played lights out the whole time, and that's really. There's something to be said for that.
It is funny that since the podcast started, they tucked Wisteria away.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but every time I've heard it, I sing The Great Beyond extra loud.
For sure.
And I hear Rob's voice going, The Great Beyond.
I hear Rob's voice going, can you guys get the hell out of here?
Yeah, I hear Rob's voice saying like that wasn't good. Let's move on.
Let's listen to a little bit of that voice theory. How about it?
Yeah, let's have a listen.
I don't know if we want to listen to it.
Well,
because it's going to be at the end of the episode.
At least we have
one
an
more thing
option.
before we Rob, keep it rolling. Because we can close it out with this.
Rob, keep it rolling.
So, in summation, still not a Goose podcast.
Nah.
First,
Wait till our Eggy recap of their tour with Spafford.
that's right.
Coming up.
6-episode season. So we but this was the first indoor Goose show in New York City since Music Hall Williamsburg. 600 people, 3,000 people at T5. Tell me what band can multiply their audience by 5 during a pandemic and come back that strong.
Right.
Play 3 sets. I mean, what's next?
I mean, hopefully what's next is me getting my hotels paid for, is what's next.
Well,
we're talking about the band.
we can all dream. We can all dream. We can all dream.
And to emphasize that, like, there have been so many fans who have gotten into Goose in the pandemic from Bingo Tour, just only seen socially distant shows, and for them to finally have the opportunity on this fall tour at Terminal 5 out west in the winter to see this band in an indoor scene, see Getty's Lights, who I think was the MVP of the weekend.
I mean, dude, Getty is no joke and no hyperbole. Like, Getty is one of the luckiest things that's happened to this band, but it's taking advantage of an opportunity. Is them running into Getty, seeing him do lights, and asking him to do lights for them, noticing that talent right away. I mean, was just such a great pickup, because Getty is really one of the best LDs I've ever seen, and he's super young,
Before we give this band too much credit, let's hit pause, listen to a little bit of tunes from T5. We'll be back in a sec.
gets you weary in your knees. Or you paint the walls with warning signs. Hope that all the world will see. You see one, all we know. The hot tea in the kitchen. Honey on your spoon. I've been chasing satellites since we landed on the moon. Find one, all we know. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. Cover down, throwing notes on fire. Let it burn till the heavens sing. Lay your weapons down and reach up to the sky when I die. When I die. Cover down, throwing notes on fire. Let it burn till the heavens sing.
All right, so the next show coming up after this Terminal 5 show is the Halloween run, starting in Portland, ending in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Nice, dude.
Now I
Worcester,
got it.
Worcester.
You're
Worcester?
improving.
Dude, everybody at a diner in Worcester would correct you.
I've come a
Worcester.
long way since Worcester.
It's very hard for us in Connecticut who have no accents to say properly.
Right?
Sorry that we speak
I hate being so eloquent.
proper
I
English.
know, it's just tough.
It's tough.
Proper English, eh? So we got the Halloween run, 4 nights. Portland, Worcester. Go get your lobster rolls and head on down to Worcester and get your, I don't know.
That English joke was terrible. I'm just remembering that English joke that Joey just made. It was awful. I'm sorry
Me?
to everybody
I
on
didn't do
the.
that. That was Greg.
That English accent was fucking terrible. I
All right,
mean,
we're just gonna blame everything on me
well,
then.
it's Joey's night. Joey's gonna be a newsie.
It's a Worcester accent, actually. So Halloween, maybe we'll get covers.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, if they're feeling it. I
Or
don't know.
maybe all of you will get the same 10 songs you've been hearing and you'll like it.
And Dragonfly too.
All right.
So back in the day, the guys did some theme shows on Halloween. They did Ghostbusters theme.
Yeah.
They did
Austin Powers.
Austin Powers, but that was during the summer.
Yeah.
Caddyshack.
Caddyshack. They did,
Which is not on Nugs, so I'm like, I heard of the Caddyshack show. I'm unfamiliar with it.
I
mean, obviously there's the Loggins.
Camp, isn't it?
I don't know.
There's obviously the Loggins run, but I don't know where it
Loggins
comes
That's
from.
where,
I may be
that's where
wrong.
Login Suite comes from, man.
Yeah.
Semi-pro.
Yes.
Mercury Lounge.
Oh, Semi-Pro was tight. Yeah.
I still have Trevor's used headband. If anyone wants to buy it for $5,000, we can start paying
sure
for
you
studio
I would
time.
like to just
Minimal,
lick
baby.
it. What's the price for licking it?
We'll talk offline.
All right, okay.
We can work
we'll
something
take
else.
that offline.
Yeah.
We'll circle back around.
So since the podcast is back, I guess engage with us on socials. Hop on. Tell us what you want them to play. We have no pull.
Don't engage
Yeah,
with me.
no. Don't ask us, hey, can they play this? Because there's no way they're going to listen to us. But
Disengage from Bruce, though.
I do want to ask you guys, like, if you could have any soundtrack being played, not that they're going to play it this year, what would you want? Do you have any idea? Is there a Madonna soundtrack? Has she
I don't know.
recorded-
I was thinking 10 Things I Hate About You must have pop music in it. So
Okay.
I would go with that.
All right.
I don't know.
What would they dress up as?
You know,
Two
they could-
tops?
I mean, Rick's emo enough to be what's his name that was emo in that movie. I don't know. It's a Shakespeare movie. That's all I care about.
Yeah,
I
a
don't
little
know.
reprise of Taming of the Shrew for
Yeah,
those of you
excuse
who
me
need
for
to...
being well read.
I'm gonna win Jeopardy one day, I swear.
Literally not.
I would love to hear The Forrest Gump soundtrack.
Oh, that would be.
That's
good
too many songs. If they left anything off, I would be so upset. But that is my favorite movie
I'm often
because of the
upset
soundtrack.
at them, dude. It's fine.
Yeah,
It's
all
a
good.
normal part of being a fan.
So join us in Worcester and get upset. We'll see you guys there.
Do you guys want to know what I want by any
Oh
chance?
shit! Yeah, you're part of this podcast. Yeah, go ahead, Joey.
Let us know.
Wait, is the feedback coming in through your phone again? No, you can go ahead.
So something I was recently that was I would love to hear The Sandlot. A lot of classic 60s.
Sure, of
Honestly,
course.
only because I want to hear Green Onions.
Dude, it'd be right in their wheelhouse.
And that
though.
America the Beautiful, that Ray Charles version.
It'd be
I would
right,
cry.
right in their wheelhouse.
I mean, I would love to hear.
But apparently my phone is breaking up the audio, so nobody really cares what I want.
Why don't we pan the crowd? Rob, any suggestions for
movie soundtracks
movie
you
soundtracks?
want? Hot Rod.
Hot
Hot Rod. Hot Rod's a good one.
I like that.
How about Dazed and Confused?
Yeah, Days and Confused would be good. Yeah,
okay.
definitely.
All right.
All right, so there's some good movie soundtracks
Good
out
stuff.
there.
Yeah,
I
maybe
like that.
people in this room know stuff.
I can't wait for them to do Shakespeare in Love or some
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Just Shakespeare. Let's just do some Shakespeare.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Why not?
Bowfinger.
I think we could just have Trevor read like the entirety of like one of the Richard histories, and then everybody would be.
Richie
Wait, were you
Shakes?
guys English majors by any chance?
Yes.
I was.
Yes, at the same school.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
Now look at us. Really panned out.
Oh, hey, Mom. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for paying.
So we'll be back. We're not going to leave you guys hanging this fall. We'll be around. We'll be here.
yeah,
Lucky you.
if we feel like it. But for now, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much to our guest, Dave DiCianni. Thanks to M for taking pictures. Thanks to Rob for sitting in. Thank you to our manager, Kathleen Rothschild. I'm sorry, Kathleen Knight.
Oh,
Now, hey,
oh, snap.
that ring is tight.
Oh, baby.
And thanks most of all to you listeners for tuning in. Be sure to catch a ride with us next time down the pathway to the great beyond.
The great beyond.